All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're exploring the incredible work of Richard de Meij, who's a multilingual linguist, researcher, and language educator. And we're going to be talking about a pretty mind-blowing idea, that being multilingual isn't just some extra skill you pick up, it's actually our human birthright.
So let's start with a number that might just flip everything you thought you knew about language. 75%. According to the world-renowned linguist David Crystal, that's roughly how much of the world's population speaks more than one language. Yeah, you heard that right. 3/4 of all humanity.
So what does a number like that really tell us? Well, it means we've got to completely reframe how we think about this, which brings us to our first big point, understanding the world's true normal.
And this quote from David Crystal just says it all, doesn't it? He doesn't say it's common or popular. No, he calls it the default human condition. This is our factory setting. This is the baseline for being human.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting when you see the contrast. On one side, you have multilingualism, the natural, normal state for most people on this planet, and on the other side, monolingualism. The research we're looking at today calls this an egotistical condition, something that mostly developed in a handful of nations, often ones with a colonial history, like the UK and the US. Okay, so if being multilingual is the human norm, does our biology back that up? Oh, absolutely. And that takes us to our next section. Your brain was born multilingual. And believe me, there is an undeniable mountain of scientific evidence for this.
The work of Richard de Meij points to some incredible science. It shows that when we're born, as babies, we are literally citizens of the world. Our brains come pre-wired with this amazing ability to hear and tell the difference between the unique sounds, the phonemes, from every single human language on Earth.
So how is that even possible? Well, the magic word is neuroplasticity. You can think of it as your brain's superpower. It's the ability to physically change, to grow, and to build brand new pathways every time you learn something, especially something as rich and complex as a new language.
And when we use that superpower, the benefits are just staggering. Speaking multiple languages lights up dense networks in our brain. It supercharges our executive functions like problem solving and multitasking, and it even makes us more empathetic. As the researcher puts it, we were evolutionarily designed to be polyvocal. In other words, to have many voices.
And this all leads to a very bold, very powerful conclusion from Richard de Meij. If our brains are literally built for many languages, then being locked into just one is, in his own words, a form of cognitive stuntedness. It's like being born with wings and never realizing you could fly.
But wait a second. If this is our natural state, how did so many of us end up speaking only one language? Well, that question takes us to a much darker part of the story, the theft of tongues, and how monolingualism wasn't chosen, it was imposed.
It all began with a doctrine, a political idea that was used as a powerful tool for control. One nation, one language. This wasn't a natural evolution, it was a deliberate strategy. Richard de Meij frames this as two totally competing visions. You have the natural world, which is this beautiful, rich tapestry of tongues, and then you have the colonial goal, which was all about linguistic homogenization, this drive to erase differences by forcing everyone to speak the exact same way.
And the consequences of this goal were frankly devastating. Richard de Meij explains that language was actually turned into a weapon. It cut people off from their own ancestral memory, their own history. It created this false idea that European languages were somehow superior. And maybe most important of all, it was used to dominate the mind, because when you control how a person speaks, you control how they see the world.
But here's the thing. That story is not over, not by a long shot. We can push back, and we can change that narrative. And that brings us to our final, and I think most empowering section, reclaim your birthright.
This is the big takeaway. The research argues that learning or reclaiming a language is so much more than a hobby. It's a powerful act of social justice. It's a conscious way to push back against the leftovers of a colonial ego that tried to tell the world that one voice was better than many.
This powerful idea that who we are is completely wrapped up in how we speak was captured perfectly by the brilliant Chicana activist, poet, and scholar Gloria Anzaldúa when she declared, "I am my language."
And that foundational concept has been championed and grown into a national movement by the amazing Dr. Krishana Hines-Geither, who is the very first African-American woman president of the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages.
Dr. Heinz Geither's incredible work also stands on the shoulders of giants, building on the groundbreaking language as and of liberation platforms that were established by Dr. L.J. Randolph Jr. and Milton Allen Turner, who were also pioneering African-American presidents of that very same organization.
So this is where Richard de Meij brings it all home. He takes this powerful, evolving idea and expands it to truly reflect our innate biological nature. It's not just I am my language, singular. No, it's I am my languages, plural. And together, we are our languages. This is the ultimate declaration of who we really are.
And so, this entire explainer really leaves us with one simple, but honestly one profound question. Knowing your brain was literally built for this, knowing it's the true human norm, and knowing it's a powerful act of liberation, will you reclaim your ancestral birthright